Are you wondering if you can afford to live comfortably in Kansas City? Well, today we're going to be talking about exactly how much money it takes for you to enjoy life and live in this Midwestern, vibrant city. And if you stick around to the end, we're going to be talking about some major costs that are often overlooked. So make sure you stick around. We're going to get started right now.
Hey everybody, we're Max and Zach. We're local real estate agents here in Kansas City, and our channel is set up to help you make informed decisions. Whether you're buying or selling, we want you to think of us as a resource. That's why we created this channel. So today we're gonna be talking about affordability, whether you can afford to live comfortably in this city, and we're gonna dive right in, starting with number 6, groceries.
Groceries and food.
All right, let's go.
Groceries really are a big part of the budget. You gotta eat, right? And let me tell you something, these grocery bills, they haven't been getting any cheaper in the last couple of years with all this inflation. So these numbers are gonna be kind of current, what we're seeing right now. They have come up, I think across the entire country, they've gone up quite a bit in the last 2 years. And this is what we're seeing. And then we'll kind of go through some average prices. And then I have actually pulled up a local grocery store I wanna show you, where we'll look at today's prices on some of those major items that you're probably gonna find yourself buying at a local grocery store.
Yeah, we Googled it and the numbers came in pretty low compared to what our experience is. So I think realistically what we see for ourselves and for our clients is that a single person is probably gonna spend a minimum of $400 a month on groceries, about $100 a week. That's living pretty conservatively.
Yeah.
And a family would be between $800 and $1,000 a month, and that's also fairly conservative. That's a little lower than I spend, my wife and I, but
Nothing but the best.
That's right, yeah. I like a lot of ribeyes, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, that comes in right about $5,000 to $12,000 annually. So that eats up a pretty good chunk of the budget.
Yeah, and when we look at like compared to the US, I think we usually come in about 95% on groceries as far as affordability. So it is a little bit cheaper being here in the Midwest, but you know, groceries are still pretty expensive. So now I want to take your attention over to Hy-Vee, which is a local grocery store. They have regular options, they have organic options, so I'm gonna kind of show you both. But then know that there's lots of other stores around here too. We have Price Choppers, we have Whole Foods, Natural Grocers, so there's always those options almost at any subdivision in Kansas City. But you can see for a gallon of the that Smart Milk, we're at $3.57. Half a gallon of Horizons Organic is $5.99. We've got the Hy-Vee brand bread for $1.99. You can go Sara Lee for $5.29, and you go over here to Dave's Killer Bread, we're at $6.99. So across the board prices there. Eggs are still pretty expensive. We are $3.77 for the that Smart eggs, and then the full organic, you're right at $6 for a dozen eggs. Chicken, we've got the Smart Chicken for $5.99 a pound, and then we got Hy-Vee's brand chicken for $4.49 a pound. And then of course LaCroix, if it's any house like my house, you're gonna have a lot of bubbly water laying around. That's going for about $5.49 for a 12 pack. And then we've got some local beer, a 12 pack's $13.48. And then if you wanna go with a local brewery, which is Boulevard, you're looking at $16.50 for a 12 pack.
Just the essentials, huh?
just what it takes to get by, yeah.
Where are the cookies?
Essentials, yeah. Looking at essentials.
Okay, no cookies on our list. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, I'd say overall the price of groceries has gone up dramatically. I think everybody in the country has experienced that since COVID, a lot of supply chain disruptions. But I think in 2024, we've seen them kind of hold firm, if not dip back down a little bit. They haven't completely corrected back to pre-spike prices, but we haven't seen. I think we've seen the inflation kind of get tamped down.
Yeah, and with supply chain too, or like diseases going through. There was a point there where eggs were ridiculous. You couldn't get eggs. There was a thing where you couldn't get milk, and just I don't know. Everything's kind of had its fluctuation in price, but everything's pretty much mellowed out now, and just straight expensive across the board. Fuel, gas, and car prices, what it costs to... Kansas City is a car city, right? We talk about that in a lot of our videos. Public transportation, there is some, but it's not what most people use, so you're probably gonna be having a car, which means you're paying for gas, you're paying for insurance, and you're paying for car maintenance.
So I just checked today, and the price of gas is coming in right around $2.67 a gallon. Again, if you go to Costco, you can get it cheaper. I think it'll be about 10 cents a gallon less expensive at Costco or Sam's. If you just hit up a random gas station in Kansas City, $2.67 is the number. So depending on how much you drive, I mean, I drive probably, I don't know how many miles per year, but it's a lot. It's a lot, more than 10,000 miles a year for sure. So I was spending $200-300 a month on gas. So that's like filling up your tank 1.5 times a week. So I ended up going electric, and now I spend a little bit less, but in the form of an electric bill. Insurance is another car expense. If you've, I just looked on my app, and I'm paying about $95 a month per car for auto insurance. And I think that can depend on how expensive a car you drive. Of course, your insurance is going to be more expensive, or if you have
Multiple, if you have it bundled with multiple things like your house, and you always get discounts for bundling. So, but that sounds just about right. And it also depends, I would say, on your zip code too, because if you're living downtown Kansas City, where there's a lot of street parking and a little more crime, that will increase your insurance rates. If you're living in a suburb of Kansas City that's full of neighborhoods and people are parking on, where the average person's parking in their driveway or their garage, your insurance rates go way down.
Also depends on your age. If you're 16, you're not getting $95 a month. And your record. If you have a record of lots of car accidents and stuff, then you're not going to get $95 a month. Luckily, I have a pretty clean record, and I'm ways away from 16, so get a pretty good rate.
Yeah, and hey, this goes with pretty much anything in Kansas City, but if you do need a referral for an insurance quote or a mortgage or anything, just think of us as a resource. This is what we do. We are well connected with some of the greatest businesses in Kansas City and can make that introduction for you.
Yep, we network for a living, and we want you to think of us as a resource for sure. If you're planning to move to Kansas City and you want someone who knows the area, well, our number's on the screen. Don't hesitate to reach out, and we'll help you find your dream home. Housing costs. We break down the housing costs quite a bit. We have several other videos on the channel speaking to the cost, but let's break it down again. We're looking at median price point of $350,000 for the city. That's to purchase a home. So depending on where what size of house you want or where in the city you want to be, that could fluctuate, but medians come in right around $350,000. And then rental prices will vary. In fact, we just did a video on buying versus renting. So if you really want to dig into the details on that, check out that video. But we're ranging from about $1,200 a month on the low end for a smaller home apartment to probably an average of about $2,400 a month for an 1,800 square foot, 2-car, 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with a yard. That'll probably be in the, for a raised ranch, split entry, front to back split home, that's probably going to be in the $2,400 a month range.
Yeah, and you can find those in not only the Brookside area, but also if you go out into the suburbs a little further away from Kansas City. But the price is, you can also, in areas like Overland Park, you can go all the way up to $4,000 bucks a month, just depending on how much square footage and how big a house you want.
If you're going to purchase a home, breaking down the mortgage costs, you've got, I think one way we like to look at it is you take your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, and then at today's interest rates, which is right about 6.25% today, per $10,000 that you borrow or per $100,000 that you borrow, we've got a little bit of a formula. It's kind of shooting from the hip, because if you buy an older home, the insurance is more expensive, or if you're in a really expensive school district, the taxes are more expensive. But on average, you're looking at about $850 a month per $100,000. If you get on a loan calculator, a lot of times they'll just give you the principal and interest. You definitely have to factor in the taxes and insurance to come up with your true monthly payment.
Yeah, and another good kind of hack for that insurance or for the taxes is 1%. You can kind of get by in most places in Kansas City around 1% of the sales price, but it does differ. It's not spot on.
And then as rates come down, that number just gets more and more attractive because you have less interest involved. Utilities. You can't live there without gas, electricity, and water.
Well, some places you can live without gas.
That's true.
We do have some fully electric neighborhoods now, and with a lot of the solar panels going in, you'll see houses with solar panels in Kansas City now. So there are some options, but yeah, you got to have utilities. You're going to have them no matter where you live, whether you're renting, owning, no matter where you live in the country. So you're probably already used to that, but we'll give you some average numbers we have here in Kansas City. Electricity is on average about $300 a month. That takes into account you're probably not using a whole lot in the winter. Really, our electric bills are really high in the summer when you've got your air conditioner running full blast. We have water about $60 a month, depending where you're at and how much water you use.
Yeah, if you don't have a sprinkler system. I do, and so in the summer, my bill can be $300 a month, which is outrageous.
That's right. In some cases, it could be even closer to 100 if some of the cities like Johnson County might throw in a stormwater or a sewage combined with that, because you have you're using water, it's going to the sewer, so they have to raise money to make those repairs too. So it could be up to 100, just depending on what county, where you're at in the city.
Gas and electricity kind of operate inversely from one another. Most people are on natural gas. Unless you live out in the country, then you might be on propane or all electric. We're looking at like $60 a month on average for gas, and until the winter months, there's probably November, December, January, and February, 4 months there where the gas bill will go up and the electric bill will go down.
And a lot of people, because of that, the swings in electric and in gas seasonality, will choose a level pay, which it may be an option everywhere in the country, I'm not sure, but it's definitely an option here if you don't want any surprises and nice consistent bills.
Yeah, so if you're in Kansas City, your electric company is going to be called Evergy, and if you are interested in what those bills might be, you can call and get an average. They won't tell you what particular month, but they will tell you the average for any address that they service, what their annual average is. Then you have Spire for gas, and Kansas City Water is the water company. So if you want to call those utility companies and get an average for an address, they'll be happy to provide that information. We got coming in at number 2, I think this is one of the biggest differences between Kansas City and other cities I've been to. Zach lived in Oregon, I lived in New York for a while, we travel a lot. And one of the biggest differences we've noticed is the restaurants. Price to go out to eat is really attractive in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, for lunches, we do a lot of like business lunches, meet clients out at lunch. I'd say for lunch around here at a decent restaurant, you're looking at like $15 to $20
per person.
Per person.
And breakfast is really pretty cheap. I'd say maybe even 10 to 12 bucks to have breakfast. Dinner, probably 30 to 40 bucks per person. And I'd say that dinner price, I just got back from Las Vegas where it was like $200 a person for dinner and 50, 60 bucks a person for lunch. So almost double. Las Vegas, California, New York, some of these bigger cities. Coming in at number 1, probably one of the biggest essentials, and I don't think it'll vary a whole lot between Kansas City and other cities, but that's the cost of health insurance, which is ungodly expensive.
Max and I both get to pay it because we happen to work for ourselves. Ideally, you might have a job where you already have it and don't even have to worry about it, but if you are self-employed and have to carry your own insurance.
So really, it ranges from about $400 to $500 a month per person. I think kids are a little bit less expensive. So Ashley and I, we pay $1,500 a month for our family, which comes in, I guess that's around 18,000 bucks annually, roughly, for a family of 4. So
yeah, we're right in the same boat. We're right at $1,500 a month. That gets you dental and doctor and all that good stuff. So we do vision. We have all that included in it.
So that covers the most of the expenses that we have on our list. But I think what it all comes down to is how much money do you need to make annually to live comfortably in Kansas City? So let's talk about that a little bit before we wrap up.
As a single person, and we see a lot of this too. We see income a lot because we're selling houses to first-time home buyers. We're selling houses to family. We know what their incomes are. So what we're seeing is really, as a single person, right around that $60,000 a year plus is where we find that people can buy a nice house, still live a comfortable lifestyle as a single person, and afford to be in Kansas City, anywhere in Kansas City. And then as a family of 4, that's kind of the average family size here in Kansas City, we're seeing, 100,000 plus, 100 to 120 combined household income is where we see people living a comfortable life. 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, 2 to 3 car garage.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, it definitely helps to make more and to be more comfortable. To live comfortably and not stress about paying your bills every month. Those are good numbers. And something I think to bring it home back to housing is the bank will loan you 45% of your debt to income ratio is what you qualify for a mortgage. So if you're wondering how much can you afford, for example, if you make $10,000 a month and you have 0 debt, no student loan debt, no car payments, no credit card debt, then the bank will be willing to loan you to where enough money to where your house payment is $4,500 a month. That's usually a little more than people feel comfortable paying. Usually people feel a little more comfortable closer to the 25% debt to income ratio. When you're meeting with your mortgage person, they're gonna probably pre-approve you for more than you want to spend. In between that 25 to 45% debt to income ratio is where most people wind up.
So now that you know the cost of living in Kansas City, are you ready to make your move? Do you need help choosing the right neighborhood? Well, feel free to reach out to us. You can give us a call, shoot us a text anytime, and we'll help you find that perfect neighborhood for you. And if you're not quite ready, then just make sure you subscribe so you can be notified of the next video, or check us out over on our channel, Living in Kansas City, all of our videos about Kansas City. We'll see you on the next one.